When we get to the book of Leviticus, of VaYikra, it's this really interesting shift. Some of us look forward to getting to this book for a very long time, and some of us really dread it. Part of the reason why is the first two books of the Torah, Genesis and Exodus, Bereshit and Shemot, are full of stories. They're full of narratives. In fact, the blip in the middle of Exodus, which is Mishpatim, an entire section of law after law after law, that blip interrupts nonstop narrative. VaYikra, the book that we're beginning, Leviticus now, really focuses on the sacrificial system, the role of priests and Levites, and how we offer what we offer. Now, it's gorgeous, but it is less narrative than some of the other books and the other stories that we've become accustomed to along the way. Now, the reason that I look forward to the book of VaYikra is because there is an essential part of that world that we can touch in this world, but from a distance, unless we work very, very hard, which is when someone would bring a sacrifice, and there were many kinds. There were animal sacrifices, there were produce sacrifices, there were sacrifices where everything you gave ascended entirely to God. There were sacrifices where what you offered ended up being a shared meal, a feast, where a portion goes to God and a portion goes to you and your family. Some of them were regularly given. Some of them were responses to a life moment that a person had, or perhaps a cycle in the calendar year. But what I love most about the whole notion of korban, of sacrifice, happens in one verse here, actually. It's a beautiful, very simple verse. When you would bring a sacrifice, v'samach yado al rosh ha'olah v'nirtza lo lechaper alav. This translation says, the person who brought the sacrifice would lean their hand upon the head of the offering, on the olah, and it would become acceptable for that person as a kapara for them, as an atonement, as a making whole for that individual. And the reason why that matters so much to me is there aren't so many things in our world that feel that way, where you take your hands and you touch the offering, you give of yourself and you feel it with your body. You know, maybe the place where we come most close to that is either hugging someone or taking care of someone else in a physical way. Sometimes you feel in your body when you give a significant gift to a tzedakah, a justice cause, or a charity. But it is rare in our world, in a regular way, to have that encounter where you know you are giving something of meaning because you hold it with your hands. My grandfather was a machinist who served in the army and then afterwards in factories. And he would work with his hands to make the pieces that would then be used to repair machines. I'm not like that myself. I like holding my books. I love holding my children. I love being with friends and loved ones. But there's something essential about VaYikra that I think we could learn a lot from. And so I look forward to its return every year, even though the gore and the guts, literally, of sacrifice, they don't work for me. But I know that they are a visceral, relational tool with which we connect to each other, the divine, and the world. And so maybe as we begin this week's Parsha, we might wonder to ourselves, really, in a physical way, what am I willing to sacrifice for the betterment of someone else? What does it mean to be part of the world in a way that demands something of me that I feel? Not that I think about, not some existential commitment, but in what way will I commit a portion of my physical life for those around me, to make this world a better place? With that, what we might be able to do might be felt by someone else, not only from an internal place of reflection, but a physical place of commitment. So may we be hands-on in the way that we give to others.